least a new space to kind of hang out in.
Yes, yes. Well, good to see you.
You
Let's
too.
see. And Lynn, hi, Mr. Lynn. How are you? I'm done, and we still are waiting for some furniture to arrive.
Yeah, no.
Hello.
Hello. How's everything in your house?
It's pretty good. It's a full house, but we're doing well.
Yes. Any chamber music going on with the kids?
No, they're busy with their schooling, so we're fighting for Wi-Fi bandwidth.
We just got Wi-Fi installed, 2 days ago, I think. So we're glad to have it work. All right, so let's check in again. Then I see some more people have signed on. Isabel Papa, we are starting with your performance. So are you there with us?
I'm talking with her right now. The link isn't working for her. I told her to check her email. I have no idea what's going on.
I do not.
Oh, by the way, you can send the YouTube live stream link too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the top. This. But YouTube sometimes will shut it down if it detects certain music patterns. That they
Yeah,
don't like.
I just sent her the YouTube link. Hopefully she gets that.
What is her email? And I'll forward this email to her.
Oh, should I put it in the chat?
Well, just tell me. I'm on my phone right now.
All right. Belle, BELLE, 07704@gmail.com.
Okay, I am sending her the link. Done.
All right.
Well, technology is a wonderful thing when it works the way that it's supposed to. So, all right. Well, then, while we wait for Isabel, then perhaps we can see if Miss Kayla Thule is there. We're going to be hearing a performance from her of a piece by Fritz Kreisler. Kayla, are you with us this evening? And silence. Silence.
You did not get a link either.
Yes. All right. Well, then you know what? We'll see people if we see them, but we want to make sure that this gets done by 8 o'clock, and it's already 7:07. So let's go in order then. Let's hear the Etude Tableau number 7 in E flat major by Sergei Rachmaninoff, and this is being performed by Miss Isabel Papa, flutist in the SYO. So if you could send that link now, Frank, we will all enjoy it.
Which one is that? I have Isabel Papa, the first one.
Isabel Papa, yes, the very first.
All right, it's coming.
And there it is. Everybody enjoy.
Frank, I don't know how to hook, the link isn't showing up that you can just click on it like last time.
All right, let me see. Maybe just the link. 1 second, let me try it one more time. How about this one?
You could please mute microphones.
All right, I'm gonna mute.
And it looks like, I think Isabel Papa, yes, you're here. We just heard your wonderful performance. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Oh, and it's like somebody else is listening to it. So let's see. Isabel, let's chat with you for just a second. But before we do that, Frank, I think there's a feature to mute everybody. Is there a way that for the next recordings? It looks like, I think Isabel Papa, yes, you're here.
So the YouTube might have some delay.
Yes, Frank, is there a way to mute everybody and allow me to speak and Isabel to speak? Is that possible?
Let me try. Okay. Mute all.
Mute all. Okay. And I do it.
Oh.
All right.
Good.
You got it. Thank
And
all right. So Isabel, would you just introduce yourself? What grade are you in? Where do you go to school? All that stuff.
Okay, so I'm a junior and I go to biotech.
Mhm. And how many years in the NJSYO at this point?
2 years now.
2 years. And you play flute in the NJSYO, you play piano here. Which one did you play first?
I started piano first. I've been playing piano for about 10 years, flute more like 7 or 8.
Okay, so a long time for both of those instruments. How long have you worked on that Rachmaninoff etude?
I started it like in the fall, but then I kind of took a break from it to learn something else. And then I kind of came back to it like 2 months ago. So maybe like 2 or 3 months total on it.
I don't suppose that something else was the Shostakovich concerto.
Yeah.
Well, a wonderful performance for our concerto competition back in February, performing the first movement of the Shostakovich Concerto number 2 in F major. Yes. All right. So that's wonderful. And have you played other music by Rachmaninoff? Is he a composer who you enjoy?
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites. I've played 2 different preludes by him as well. Yeah.
What is it about his music that you find so enticing or engaging?
I have discovered, I guess, that I really like Russian music in general. And I think the time period that Rachmaninoff is in is really interesting because it's like post-romantic. So there's some contemporary things about it, but it's still very like emotionally like loaded and stuff. So that's cool.
Yes. He was definitely one of the last romantics, sort of he and Strauss up there into the 1940s. And of course, Rachmaninoff spent the last years of his life, I think, in the United States on the West Coast. So his music in a certain way, particularly with the orchestral things or the piano concerti, they have this sort of Hollywood feel almost to them. So wonderfully emotive stuff. Well, a beautiful performance and congratulations again. And thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see, moving right onwards. Kayla, are you there? No, Kayla.
I'm alive.
Oh, yes. Is that a yes?
Oh, darn it. Wait, hold on.
Oh, darn it. Oh, there she is. Oh, okay. I can't see you, but I see this wonderful watercolor violet.
I got it. Hi.
All right. So Kayla,
I was locked out or something.
oh, that's one of the beauties of a recital at home. You can leave to grab whenever you want to. So you've sent in the Preludium from the Chrysler Preludium and Allegro. So please tell us and tell us a little bit about the piece and why you chose it.
Well, I'm interested in a lot of Chrysler songs. I found this one through Midori Goto, the soloist, and I really like her playing of the piece the best. I just played the prelude part, like the first part, and then about halfway through it gets to Allegro. That part's a little crazier. I wasn't able to play that yet. But
Well, and that's a very showy part of it, but the prelude works very nicely just as sort of a itself before the Allegro. How long have you worked on the piece for?
Well, I've been working on the piece for a while. I think I started it up. I found it like a couple years ago, and back then, that was before I got a tutor or I started looking into orchestra or anything. So my idea was, oh, wouldn't that be really cool if I learned it, by the end of senior year? So that's what I'm working on right now.
And you're not a senior, you're a junior?
Yeah,
So nicely done ahead of schedule then.
thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to say to us or tell us about the piece before we enjoy it?
I don't know. I was just I finally found someone did a piano accompaniment, but I think it's slightly off because I couldn't hear it over my loud violin. So it might be a little off, but
Well, I previewed it and I can assure you it's absolutely wonderful. So thank you so
thank
much.
you.
And Frank, if you want to send the link for Kayla Thule, the second link that we have there, we'll all enjoy the Preludium and Allegro. And if we could mute everybody once you send it, please. Thank you.
I was hearing it before. Wait, it was really good. What's happening now? Do you see this one? Look, honey. Look, do you see?
Good. Everybody finished listening? Yes. All right. There we go. applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's lovely, and it is very together with the piano accompaniment. So you did a great job with that, and it's particularly challenging when you don't have the other person in the room, and you just have to trust the counting and trust your ear. So very well done with that. Lovely.
Thank you.
On the violin all the way through. Really beautiful playing. So congratulations and thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Oh, so our next performance. I'd ask you to please mute your Zoom account noise. We're now going to hear some selections, about 3.5 minutes worth of selections from the Serenade for Winds, Opus 44, by the Czech composer Antonín Dvořák. Now, this is music that's being conducted by our concert youth orchestra conductor, Mr. Joe Chapina. So, Joe, are you there?
I'm right here.
Oh, and you're sporting the NJSYO gear.
Oh, well, obviously I have to.
Very good.
How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. How's everything with you?
Great, great. I was quarantined for 4 days and got a dog, so everything's good.
Oh, a new dog. What is the dog's name?
Oh, his name is Stanley.
Stanley. Love it. Well, give Stanley a hug and a kiss from us at the NJSYO. Why don't you tell us about the piece and introduce it? It's all yours.
Yeah, so this was my graduate conducting recital. So when you have a performance master's, usually the end of your program, you put together a recital. So in this case, my performance degree was conducting. So you put together a recital and you pick the repertoire and you conduct rehearsals and put that all together. So it's usually about an hour of music. So this is just a montage of different movements from this Serenade for Winds. It's one of the most popular serenades and in the wind band repertoire. So yeah, these are just a couple of selections from each movement. And so it is consisted of 2 oboes, 2 clarinets, 2 bassoons, and 2 French horns in this ensemble, and it's actually written for also string bass and contrabassoon. So
I noticed that there is, it looks like a tenor tuba, or maybe it's a bass tuba on this performance. So is that doublet? Is that covering the bass part?
So that the tuba, because as a brass player, you have to find people to work with all these schedules, and that's like part of really the gig of putting the ensemble together is, getting everyone's schedule. So actually, the string bass player that we had in our school, they were all booked with other gigs. So we, as a brass player, was like, oh, we'll just use the tuba. So yeah, that's covering the string bass part.
Well, and that certainly makes it the Serenade for Winds. One of the things I've always wondered about with this piece is where the string bass comes from, because it seems to, we see that in wind band literature sometimes, but in a chamber work like
and I think that was like the start of using string bass, because Holst was using it a little bit, got that idea later. And so I think just having a string bass in a wind ensemble, Dvořák was one of those people that did whatever he wanted. So he's like, let's use the string bass, to create that low register in there. So.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much. And let's go ahead then and send the third link for Mr. Joe Chapina, Mr. C, Mr. Cappuccino, Dvořák, Serenade for Winds. Enjoy.
he left out the word "a" in "A Soul Sister." But the scores are correct. The category for final is Shakespeare's plays, and here is your clue, contestants. An account of an imposed Duke of Genoa in a 1549.
Bravo! And that was just going.
I know. Well, I mean, it's actually it's
To hear what was next.
I know it's actually a 25. That whole work is 25 minutes. So that was actually the bulk of the recital. But yeah, no, it's really beautiful stuff. If anybody gets the chance, I listen to the whole thing. I love it.
You know, it's actually funny. About maybe an hour ago on WQXR here in New York, the classical station, that piece came on. So somehow the
That's
universe.
awesome.
Yeah, it's a great piece. Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Miss you all.
Yes, we miss you. We miss everybody. And let's see, Bob, but we're not going to want to miss, and I know he's here because I've seen his face on the other end of this computer. We're not going to want a performance by NJSYO alone. Hopefully member next year, we will see. Bassoonist Andrew Delaru. Andrew, hello.
Hi.
How's the world? How's everything?
Oh, it's going pretty well. Definitely, Juilliard has really been a very good experience. Unfortunately, it's kind of been cut short, but it was good while it lasted.
Right. Have you been able to do any online learning from the Juilliard Pre-College?
Oh yeah, we've basically transitioned to online Zoom classes, so that's still going, but it doesn't feel the same.
No, I'm sure not.
Oh,
Now,
he's an NJSYO alum.
Yeah, she's definitely got to do that.
What's
are these academic classes like music theory and ear training, performance classes that have?
Well, so we still have ear training to do, and we still have music theory. And basically how we do those is we have recitations every week. They give us something to do, and we have to practice it. And then for bassoonists like myself and oboists, we have reed class, which we do. And then we have our specific lessons whenever they may be. And now recently they started doing the orchestra meetings again, and our conductor is basically talking about the conductor's toolkit and how the conductor has certain tools that can enhance the ensemble experience and something like that. It's very interesting.
Interesting. That's great. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're able to do some online learning then through Juilliard. That's wonderful. You have sent in a performance of the first movement of the Mozart Bassoon Concerto. So, what do you want to tell us about?
Well, so this work is one of the most studied bassoon excerpts. I mean, not excerpts, but solo rep. And most auditions will ask for it. So basically, every bassoonist will have to learn it. It's definitely, I think it's Mozart's first composition or first concerto for a wind instrument before the clarinet concerto. And Mozart actually, many people suppose that he had written about 5 bassoon concertos, but the rest of them were all lost, and this is the only one that remains.
Interesting. I did not know that about the Lost Bassoon Concerti. There is not a great deal of solo concerto repertoire for your instrument.
I would say there's definitely some, but a lot of instruments definitely have some more options.
Yes,
But this,
there are a whole bunch of them by Vivaldi, and certainly there's the Mozart concerto. But one is not accustomed to bassoon as a solo instrument. You know,
yeah.
the sort of things that you think Mozart's trying to show off with the bassoon in.
Well, I think he's definitely like Vivaldi, who wrote like 37 concertos for the instrument. I think he's trying to show off definitely the bassoon's agility and its extreme range, because the range extends all the way from the low B flat all the way up to a high B flat. So he definitely wants to show how technically the versatility of the instrument, as well as the different types of colors it can produce and the articulations it can do.
Absolutely, it's always. I mean, I so I think we're going to go ahead then and enjoy your performance of the first movement, Allegro, from the Mozart Bassoon Concerto with pre-recorded piano accompaniment. And Frank, if you could send that, there it is. Enjoy, everybody. And let's mute.
I liked that one.
No, they may not be. Mhm. Yes, yes. Laru, bravo. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I have to know hearing now that you have the video. Did you record
Which one?
the shirt that you're wearing now? It's the shirt you have on in the video. So did you record this morning?
No, I recorded it yesterday, last night.
Last night. Well, I suppose we're not getting out and running around, so that's. I wanted to ask you, the cadenza, is that Mozart's cadenza, or what's the story there?
Oh, I just made it up on the spot.
Ah, very nice, very nice. It definitely had an improvised kind of a feel to it. Now, is that the sort of thing that would have been done by a soloist in Mozart's day?
Well, there was a lot of improvisation, especially in the classical and Baroque times, but it was more sort of centered around just sort of hovering around the melody. So that's what I tried to do there. I tried to use the da, 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 the figure that's always present there and just make up some stuff about it.
Yes, yes. It's interesting. It almost takes on sort of like it puts me in mind of a Franz Strauss or Richard Strauss or something. Yum, bim, ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, ba, ba, going down. So it's a very heroic sort of a motive. Well, thank you for the wonderful performance, and I hope that we can hear more of you in the coming weeks. So. All right, so moving on, let's see. Oh, all right. Our next submission this evening is by me, Mr. Ringer. Let's see. A couple of thoughts about this. What you're going to hear me play on the piano is the prelude number 5, titled Bruyère. I'm probably butchering the French there. From the book, the second book of Claude Debussy's Piano Preludes. This would have been composed in 1912 or 1913. Each of the titles of his piano preludes are given descriptive names, and some of them are quite well known. La Cathédrale Engloutie, the Sunken Cathedral. You have voile, voile, which is veils or scarves, depending on how it's translated. You have his famous prelude, La Fille aux Cheveux de Lin, the girl with the golden hair or the flaxen hair. And this is one that is equally as beautiful, but is not quite as well known. Bruyère, aside from being the name of a town in southeastern France, is the French for heather, not the feminine name, but the flower that is often associated with the moors of Scotland. So this is music, certainly for the warmer weather. I thought it was appropriate for the springtime. It's inspired by flowers, and I just want to give you a quick visual, courtesy of National Geographic here, so you can picture the moors and the beautiful heather blooming there. So hold that image in your mind, and please enjoy Bruyère by Debussy. All right, and I think that's the end of that. Just one quick thing. I would show you here, since I've got the music in front of me. As is the case with many of Debussy's piano preludes, this one is notated not on two staves, treble and bass clef, but is actually notated on three staves. So if we look right here, we can see 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's still just for two hands, but there's so much different stuff going on the page that he's not able to clearly fit it into two staves. So, and the Debussy piano preludes are wonderful pieces. They're beautiful and listening. Hello, Miss Fields. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you. Oh, you have a guitar there, I see.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was waiting for to get let in.
Oh dear, oh dear. All right, so that was Bruyere on the piano by me, or by Debussy, played by me, excuse me. Now let's see, Frank, the next link that I sent you is a submission by Leo Sueda, our chamber music coach. We are not going to be viewing that this evening. I was in touch with Leo earlier today, and he tells me that he wants to re-record it. So we will hopefully be viewing that next week. This means, though, that we are at our last scheduled performance of the evening, unless, Maddie, you're going to play something for us on the guitar, and I don't know about it. That would be exciting. So we are now going to hear a submission by Zach Sussman, and I don't really know how to explain this. It's called Jukebox Master. Zach, are you with us tonight?
Hi. It's actually called Jukebox Jester.
Jukebox Jester. See, I even wrote the name down. Okay. Tell us what's going on here.
Well, it's an electronic piece that I made, but I'm also performing keyboard alongside the electronics. So I composed it. I made all the synthesizers. I used a digital audio workstation, put it together, and then I'm also playing the keyboard part alongside of the music that I had already made, and then I put the video all together.
Okay, so you so this is something with, I guess, multiple tracks laid down. What did you do first?
Well, this piece actually first came out. I was playing around. I was at the piano just experimenting, and then I found this, like, the main line of the piece. Well, I actually couldn't play it at first. Because I first wrote it in MIDI, which is like a way to represent melodies like an electronic way. So I made it that way, and then afterwards I figured out how to play it and practiced it to the point so that I could perform it for the song. So yeah.
Now, so when in the video that we're seeing, because you're outside in the sunshine playing your keyboard for much of this video here, are we actually hearing what you're playing, or is that just sort of a lip sync along with a pre-recorded audio track?
So the way what you're hearing is the MIDI of what I played. So basically what I played, the way electronic keyboards work, if you were live in the moment when what you would hear, what you hear in the recording is what I played. However, it is not, I did like alter like the mix, but I didn't change the notes. So what you're hearing is what I played.
Okay, so I wondered. So there's some post-production and editing on the actual video take then. Because there are times when the effect on the keyboard and you can see what your fingers are doing and it lines up with the melody, but I hear the effects change and I don't see you press a button. So that's on the post. Now there's also, I don't even know what you call it. There's some square thing with a whole bunch of buttons that you press. What is that thing?
So I actually have it right here. It's called a launch pad. The way it works is I can program it to do different lights, and I can program different buttons to make different sounds. So in the I lined up the lights with the song to make it appear as though it was producing the sound. And although I can make it produce the sound, I didn't do it for this particular piece. So it's just it's more of a light effect that and so I can program it. So I push the button and then a certain light sequence happens. So it's another component of the piece.
Okay, so you, I'm counting down until we see, you know, the Broadway musical that's composed, lyrics and lighting effects by Zach Sussman here, because that's just another layer of intricacy on everything musically that's already going on, and there's a lot going on. All right. Well, I loved this when I saw it earlier, and I can't wait for everybody to enjoy it. So thanks for a great submission, Zach, and please enjoy Jukebox Jester. There it is.
Thank you.
Just awesome. Just awesome. So we've got another original
That's so weird.
So let's see. That I think I'm gonna just double check here, but yes. That is going to conclude our recital this evening. So thank you so much to everybody for participating. Thank you, Isabel Papa, for your Rachmaninoff performance. Thank you, Kayla Thule, for your performance of the Chrysler Prelude. Mr. C, conducting the Dvorak Serenade for Winds. Andrew Solaru on the bassoon with the first movement of the Mozart Concerto in B flat. Bruyères by Debussy, and then not Jukebox Master, but Jukebox Jester by Zach Sussman, though certainly he is a jukebox master, undoubtedly, to put something like that together. So we will have another one of these recitals next week. If you would like to submit something, please reach out to me. If you need a piano accompaniment, I will be happy to slap one together and hopefully not play too many wrong notes so you can have something to play along with. And again, we will be sending out a Zoom link next week. So thank you all so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Thursday evening. And this is Ben Ringer and the NJSYO, I guess, signing off. See you next week. Thank you, Frank Sue, for hosting. Hope to see you all next Thursday. Good night.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Night.
everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Everybody says bye-bye.
Frank.